Hello, welcome back. My name is Raisa and this is Raisa's Bookshelf. I am super excited to be talking about my October TBR.
What's today? October?
I'm especially excited about all of the vibes that I've curated. There's a lot of books in my October TBR, but do not fear, I won't be finishing them all. If I do, I would be very impressed, but I don't think so. It's quite a lot of books. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm also a mood reader, so I like to have a variety of like types of different books that I can pick throughout the month. So some might not even be read this month. They would definitely be like spilled over to the next month of November. But I really like the books that I picked, and I'm really excited about them. There might be a chance that I read other books that I don't show here. Like I said, I'm definitely a very motivated by my mood. The first book that I think I'm like literally October 1st, this is a book that I'm gonna start reading, and it's A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I do not know much about this book other than obviously it is a classic, and that is kind of gory, and a lot of people like his prose, like very beautifully written. So I'm really excited to read this book. It is a fairly small book, so I definitely think I will get to it as soon as possible. And then the other book that I wanted to read, which is so perfect for October, I feel like the vibes for October could be either like very cozy or very creepy, and this just fits it. This is Tenders of Flesh, but in Spanish. So Cada Exquisito by Augusta Faceterica. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm like awful at names. So yeah, look, this is actually the original what is it, like the original copy, like version, and it is in Spanish. And that is one of my goals this year. I just want to read one book in Spanish, because I kind of like neglect reading in Spanish, and I'm kind of awful, especially out loud. Do not ask me to read Spanish out loud. It's super embarrassing. I'm like fluent and I can read it, but it's just like it doesn't sound good. So that's one of my goals. I really want to get to it. And then this book was given to me by my English teacher in community college, my very first semester. It's called Bless Me Ultima by Rodolfo Anya, and I think it's a Mexican classic, but I might be mistaken. I remember starting to read it and it was so good, but then I got really busy with school, and then I never picked it up again. So I'm definitely gonna read it. Also, it's not a big book either. I wanted to be an English major, of course, and so I was really into books and really into writing, and I don't know, she really took an interest in cultivating my wanting to become a writer and a English major. So she actually sent me a bunch of different books, and this was one of them. So I want to honor her and actually freaking read it. I want to get into fantasy. I'm really bad at getting into fantasy, just because one, I find it really intimidating. Two, it used to be one of my favorite genres when I was growing up, but I feel like it's kind of hard for me to picture a lot of the things being described in fantasy books, and it's hard for me to follow some of the magic system. So I'm definitely intimidated by fantasy novels, so I typically don't pick them up. But this is about vampires, and there's kidnapping and mystery, and I think there's a little bit of what is it called, like backstabbing. Anyways, it sounds so interesting, and I want to get into it so bad. So yeah, if you are interested in reading like a vampires book, I do kind of recommend this one. I started reading a couple of pages of it a couple of weeks ago, and it sounded very fascinating, but I wasn't in the mood to read fantasy, so I stopped. But yeah, and then I think October is the perfect time of day to read thriller books. So I've been meaning to read this book for forever. The Wife is Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I'm really excited. I don't know anything about what goes on in this book other than maybe there's a wife upstairs. That was bad. Anyways, I like to go into my thriller books, especially my thriller books, not knowing anything, because if I know, because I feel like thriller books are kind of predictable. There's a formula to writing them, and so, you know, I've been an avid viewer of true crime and, like, you know, just reading so many like different thriller books ever since I was younger, that I kind of know the tropes, and it's very easy to find out what it's gonna happen, you know, next in a thriller book after you've, you know, read a bunch of them. And then I also have a very funny story about this particular book. I read this book when I attempted to read this book when I was younger, a lot younger, by the way. Just keep that in mind. Please don't judge. It is Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafron. And I read this book. I was so like deep into it. I was freaking loving it. I was eating it up. I couldn't get enough of it. And it was like maybe 12 o'clock at night. I was supposed to be sleeping, and I got to this part where I don't know what it was, but it was like the devil, I think it was, or the devil personified, I don't know, was looking at the main character or staring at the main character like across the street or something like that. I don't remember. Take it with a grain of salt, because I attempted to read this book like literally maybe 5 years ago, and I just remember I felt instantly so scared, so creeped out. I was like, I'm not reading this. I literally threw it across my room, and I was like, I'm going to sleep. I cannot continue reading this. And then I never picked it up again. But I fell in love with the writing. Like, I could 100% tell you that I fell in love with the writing, and I wanted to continue reading it. So I'm going to read this book this month. I'm so excited for it. Like, genuinely so excited for it. There's some manga that I'm really excited to read, and I hope that I get to read even just one of the volumes. I'm currently in volume 1. I'm sorry, they're like kind of all messed up. There. And that is Mangas of the Library. This manga is actually pretty interesting in my opinion. It heavily relies on like a lot of, it's very inspired by Middle Eastern culture and like Southeast Asian culture. The drawings, oh my god, the drawings are so intricate. The clothing that people wear is so interesting and very intricate. It really talks about how important books are in our world, in our society, and what they can teach us. It talks so beautifully about books, so beautifully about books. There's so many like interesting characters. Mind you, I'm only on the 2nd volume, and I'm like in love with this whole like world that this author's creating, and the author's name is Mitsu Izumi, and we're following this like young man. He's 13 currently, on I'm guessing adventures of traveling to one of the cities that has all of the books in the world. Technically it doesn't have it, but it has like the biggest catalog, and he's trying to become one of the librarians in the book. And then there's another manga that I'm currently not in the middle of, but I'm currently reading volume 2, or about to start volume 2. I'm sorry, I misspoke. And that is My Name is Shingo, and this is a sci-fi like thriller book. It has like 1960s and 50s aesthetic, but it has like an aesthetic and social like norms, but it's I believe it's set in the 80s, like the mid to early 80s, and it's kind of I believe it's going to talk about the industrialization of Japan, and you have this like sentient machine. It's super cool. You are following this kid that I cannot remember the name of right now. I'm really sorry, I am blanking. But you're following this little boy, and he's actually pretty funny. He's kind of like a typical little annoying kid who's really loud and really curious, but he's really good with machines. And so yeah, I will talk about the first volume in my September wrap up. So if you're more interested in the series, make sure you watch that video. And then this is another book that I grew up with, and I don't know, I feel like every single kid in America at one point read this book in middle school. This is Tucker Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. I absolutely loved this book when I was younger. I have reread it as an adult. I think the last time I read it was I was 19, and I still loved it. I loved the movie as well. I was so enthralled by the world. I believe it follows this family that discover the fountain of youth, so they have the gift of immortality, and then it follows a 17-year-old, and she like meets one of the kids of this family, and this is actually like the fountain of youth. This is a secret, right? So I have like a vague idea of what it is, but if you're interested, I think you should read this book. It's like really quick read, but it's so interesting. Anyways, another book from my childhood, another funny story, is Miami-Dade County Public Schools suck. And so this, I think it was my 10th, no, it was my 9th grade. It was my very first 9th grade. I had I think it was I was like in like at an advanced English class, if I'm not mistaken, and it was the first time we have ever gotten a syllabus. And I remember me and my friends were so excited because we were like, oh my god, we're getting a syllabus. We got a reading list of all the books that we had to get, that we were gonna analyze and write essays about, and we were so excited. This was the first time I ever went to Barnes and Nobles to pick up a book. I'm not even joking. The very first time I picked up a bunch of, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 books, and it cost like an arm and a leg. I'd never been to Barnes and Nobles other than to look around, because Barnes and Nobles is so expensive. And so I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then she left literally a week later. We didn't even get to the first 5 chapters before she left. So yeah, I always read it every couple of years. I remember last time that I really liked it, I just had like a tiny bit little bits like critiquing the book, but other than that, it has stood the time. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's never disappointed me, I guess. Yeah, it has never disappointed me. And so just in case I'm in a very cozy little vibe, maybe hopefully the heat that is in Missouri right now is disgusting. I hope it starts leaving, because I'm not gonna be happy. Like the heat that is Missouri right now is disgusting. Like you can't even go outside. I took my dogs out today, and they didn't even last 5 minutes when I was throwing the bone and playing with them, because it is so goddamn hot. I'm sorry, it's so hot. But if the vibes, bring, and the weather starts to get colder, there's a little breeze in the air, I'm pulling out this book. And this is Bookshops and Bone Dose by Travis Beldy. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, this is a really cute, cozy story. I believe it is a gremlin that has retired and either is about to get a bookshop or owns a bookshop. That's all I know. And again, if Cozy Vibes, you know, were to appear and I'm in the mood to sit down and read like a really cute and like, you know, flowery and whatever, I'm gonna pick this book, The Botanist's Daughter by Kane Noon. I picked this book entirely because of the cover, but also I believe this is it's actually pretty interesting. So it follows one character in the present day and then it goes to the past in 1886, and two women separated by centuries, can a mysterious flower bring them together? Doesn't that sound amazing? It sounds amazing to me. And then I'm gonna finish up this little TBR with Dante's Divine Comedy, book 1. Do I believe I will finish this book, even though it's pretty short, this month, or the month of October, I mean? I don't think so. I feel like I need somebody to like explain this to me. I might have to read it. I might have to like watch a YouTube because it kind of looks a little complicated. But anyways, this is about Christian allegories and all of that. It's a classic. I feel that you must read it at one point in your life. So we'll see. Anyways, I'm really excited to read this book. I'm so sorry I got caught off. But yeah, I'm excited for October. I hope I get to read even half of the books that I mentioned here. But if I don't, that's completely fine. Some of the books might spill over to November. Oh, there's one more book I did want to talk about, and it's in my Kindle, okay? Let's see. And it's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm definitely going to read this in October, and I might read the X Hex, if you guys don't know what that is. I think it's a romance book. And I'm gonna get it on Kindle Unlimited because it is available there. And it's about this girl who either gets into like, or has like a really bad I think she gets into a relationship and it ends up him being like, hey, actually I have a fiance waiting for me back, you know, in my country. And she's like, oh, fuck you, guy. And so she goes to her cousin and complains, and the cousin's like, oh, let's put a hex on his ass. And then he comes back into her life in the town where she lives like 7 to 9 years later, and he's like having the worst time. And it turns out that the hex they put that night where she was really mad low-key worked, even though she didn't do it on purpose. It was more of a joke. I think it's so funny, just in case, because a lot of these books are very like, you know, very heavy. So if I want a light little, you know, fun read, I feel like that would be a great option. And so yeah, those are the 2 extra books that I wanted to talk about that I don't physically own, and I'm really excited, and I hope that you have a wonderful week or month wherever you are. And if you're reading a book or plan on reading a book, please comment down below. And if you like any of this book, please do not spoil me, but let me know how much you liked it. Bye.